Hello, everyone. Welcome to the C Files. I'm going to speak on a certain portion of Donald Trump's speech, his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention last night. And to me, this is the defining moment of his speech. Since Saturday, which is the date of that attempt on his life, I've been wondering, did that have any kind of an effect upon Trump? Are we going to see a different Trump than what we have seen previously? The answer to that question is going to be answered in this video and in his speech. And something kept rattling around in my head that he said in his speech that caught the audience by surprise. And I couldn't quite figure it out until this morning. Let's listen to this portion of his speech in its entirety, and then I'll explain what I'm talking about. So this will be a short clip as he's talking about the assassin's bullet that was meant to take his life.
Absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place.
It gets to a certain point, and then it starts having problems. Let me see if I can get past it.
Very serious that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet in a certain way I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
There's more. This is not the part that, this is important, but this is not the part I was speaking of.
The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual.
And it's pausing again. My old antiquated computer is having a hard time with this video. Let's see if I can get past that.
This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but...
Come on, computer.
They just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out.
Now, he's going to say something here that...
I'm not supposed to be here tonight.
That.
Not supposed to be here. Yeah.
And the computer messes up again. I got to get this other part in.
But I'm not.
But I'm not.
And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
That is what was rattling around in my head. I'm not supposed to be here. The Trump that we saw in that speech last night is not the same Trump that was prior Assassin's Bullet. I'm not supposed to be here. And I kept thinking, what does he mean by that? I mean, obviously he was referencing it to the incident, the assassin's bullet on Saturday, but there's a deeper meaning behind that. What did he actually mean? And then it hit me. It was a statement that follows that clued me in. It is only by the grace of God that I'm here. What he was saying was, I had an appointment with death, and God changed the appointment. Think about that, folks. He's saying, I'm on borrowed time. God has granted me a few more years. That defined the rest of his speech. Let that hit you for a moment. What he was saying was, I owe God everything from this point on. I owe God my life. How much do you think that's going to impact not only his presidency, but just his life, how he lives it? What he was saying was, I have a second chance to get it right. I had an appointment with death, but God changed the appointment. He's living now with the reality that every day is a gift from God. And he actually said that at the end of his speech. And he knows that he's not guaranteed the next day. Folks, when you get to that point, that reality, you begin to live different. You begin to think different. You begin to act different. You begin to have a different mentality and a different attitude. And maybe a different heart. This is a different Trump. In some ways, he did die on Saturday and became a new person. He died to his old self and he became something different. And I was wondering before his speech if there was going to be any difference in him. And I think I just got my answer. Now, did he become a born-again Christian? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know this. That incident of the assassin's bullet had a profound effect upon him. And he's a different person. So let's continue to pray for him, continue to pray for our government, continue to pray for our nation, continue to pray for those who are in rebellion against God, that they would have their own encounter with God, if you will. These are amazing times. And no, I don't believe that we're in the end times. I'm not going to go down that road. I know a lot of people will, and a lot of people do. And a lot of false predictions and a lot of hysteria comes out of this end times narrative that's pushed so heavily. Scripturally, and I can make a strong case for this, I do not believe that we are in the, quote, end times, end quote. But I do believe that we are in a transition period. And I don't know what's going to come out of that, but I'm the eternal optimist, and I'm hoping and praying that better days are coming for our children and our grandchildren. You see, I'm an eternal optimist for two reasons. Number one, because I believe that God is not finished building his kingdom on this earth yet. And there's a lot more to be done. And number two, it's just too depressing to be a pessimist. I think it's time to curb a lot of the anger that has ramped up in our country and on people on my side of the aisle. And embrace the grace and the mercy of God and pray for His guidance and pray for His providence to be that which takes us into a brighter future. Just some thoughts for reflection. I'll see you next time on the C-Files. God bless.